What's going on, everybody? My name is VamKiller92 coming at you with another video. Today, I'm actually going to be talking about the Bleach Rebirth of Soul's Reawakening trailer. The reason why I'm talking about this video is because I actually want to go ahead and cover a few things that I actually noticed inside of the trailer. I did post a few things inside of my reaction trailer along with that analysis, but at the same time, I wanted to go a little bit further, see if I could talk about a few things that, I might have noticed after watching it a few more times. Alright guys, starting us off, we already know that in the beginning of the trailer, we start ourselves off with the Hueco Mundo Dimension, also known as the Hollow World and Hollow Sphere, with the Spanish translation and the Japanese translation respectively. And for those of you who have watched and or read the Bleach series, you would commonly know that this is the home world of the Hollows and the Arrancars, respectively. Why might I be going over this basic lore? Well, the reason why is because this specific lore is pertaining to the Espada arc that we see inside of the anime and manga as a whole. And right here in this particular scene, we see the confrontation between both Ichigo and Ucleora, where Ucleora has finally confronted Ichigo, who had noticed that Rukia had seemed to have lost. And with that being said, if you've noticed, Ichigo is also holding Nell. So, my thing is that this gives me a little bit of a speculation of who we might see as a particular playable character. Though, it might not happen. It probably is a little bit of copium here and there, but I see that Nell is going to potentially be a playable character inside of the game. Now, how might they be able to do that brings up a really good question, because if you've seen exactly what Nell's form looks like, you would remember that she has two forms, her childlike form and her adult form, commonly known as the fully grown, curvaceous, and well-adorned adult with long, wavy green hair. I didn't write that in the script, by the way. That was actually inside of the description on the wiki. And if there were to be any common sense inside of the fighting game aspect of this character, I would assume that she would start off inside of her adult form. And now, on top of that, to go even further with this, of course she has some well-known abilities. We know that she has access to Cero, but we also know that she has access to Resurrection, allowing her to transform into her centaur-like state, where her lower half of the body is ram-like, while the top half is also more human, donning a javelin-like weapon, allowing her to fight in a more ferocious manner. Now, I'm a little bit intrigued of how they would do that, because we haven't really seen any form of gameplay that involves that sort of character. So it's best to probably leave it up in the air for exactly what sort of gameplay style that Nell would have, especially with her base form and her awakened Resurrection form. And now for the question I'm pretty sure that we've all been asking and have been wondering, probably should leave it that way, at least in my personal opinion, Orihime. Now, the thing is that there's no telling exactly how Orihime is going to play, especially with her having two different iterations of her fighting kit from the beginning of the Bleach series, following up until this point of the Arrancar arc being even further. Now, to go ahead and give it a little bit of a simple explanation, her powers are derived from the Shunshunrika, the hairpiece that is on her hair, and these powers are also separated into separate spirits: Ayame, Baigon, Hinagiku, Lily, Shunuo, and Tsubaki. These 6 spirits are all essentially a part of Orihime, and they all give her different powers. Now, with these different powers, they could go either or, with them being her being more of a defensive and strategic character with the way that she would fight, or a very defensive and healy type character, but with some small offensive abilities that could be in her basic combo strings. So let's go ahead and go throughout her abilities. We're gonna go ahead and break down Orihime in potentially 3 sections. Now, for the first bit of kit for Orihime, we would give her a more strategic one. So for the 2 abilities that she would have as an SP1 and an SP2 ability would be Koten Zanshun and Shiten Koshun. Why would we be giving her these abilities? Well, Kolten Zanshun is an offensive technique that allows her to deal damage by cutting her enemies. We've seen her use this ability countless times against different Hollows and a few Arrancar alike. Now for her second ability, Shinten Konshun. The combination of both her offensive and defensive properties, allowing her to shield herself but as well damage her opponent in the same instance once they attack her shield. I feel like this would be a really strong attack, seeing as there is really no telling of how exactly it would work, because the way that it could work, it could go in two ways. It could work as a scaling Punisher, or it could work as a normal counter where you send the attack back and you set them in a stunned condition. I'm not entirely sure if there is a stun inside of the game, but this is only a hypothetical type of ability, so the way that it works can be completely different if they actually incorporate it inside of the game. Now for her basic hit, I will say that for her basic attacks, I'd say, she would go ahead and send her Shinsun Rika, and, just doing like little small cuts here and there. That's what I would see it as. And for her defensive capabilities, if she were to guard, she could actually just use the Santen Kinshun as a normal guard barrier, which would work in her general favored style of fighting. Even though Orihime is not a fighter herself, this would be the best decision out there. Now, for her potential ultimate, this could be a bit controversial, because this means that with her ultimate, it would require not only a lot of things to occur, but also to regress the fight a bit, making it longer. Now, for her ultimate, I would say that Sonten Kinshun would potentially be an ability that she could have to probably heal herself all the way back to either half health or back to full, depending on the situation that you are in. Now, this is only a theory, so these abilities will of course probably be, different if Orihime was a actual playable character, though I do think that if Orihime was a playable character, I would be genuinely scared, not only for the player, but also for the character itself, because I don't know how that would, take place inside of, like, a ranked format. Now, we are introduced with the rest of the gang in this trailer. We have Ichigo, Uryu, Chad, Renji, and Rukia. Now, for these 5, it's going to be really interesting, mainly because of the fact that because they were introduced into this trailer, that might mean that we could possibly and potentially get a secondary slot for the rest of these characters. I know it's already confirmed for Ichigo is going to go ahead and get a secondary character slot because he has 2 separate forms, one being his holified Bleach state, now, we already know for the fact that Ichigo is going to be confirmed for another character slot, because for this one, he starts off in his Bankai state. On top of that, he also ends up awakening with a holified mask, and on top of that, even further on, we see that he has his Vasta Lorde form. So, with that being said, Ichigo is definitely confirmed to have another character slot. Though, for the remainder of the 4, we're not entirely sure if Chad, Uryu, or Rukia herself will all have a different character slot. Chad essentially was kind of the same, though he did get a formal upgrade, so to say, in this arc when it came to his Fullbringer mode, or weapons. Uryu has a completely different way of fighting inside of the arc, though he does gain... Uryu, on the other hand, has a very similar way of fighting inside of this arc, though he has a few other, abilities that work to his benefit inside of this arc for sure. On top of that, he does have the webbed Quincy bow this time around, so whatever he might have as a kit definitely is going to be seen as an upgrade later on. And as for Rukia, we already know that Rukia has a character slot, though there's no telling exactly if they will update her entire kit to best fit this portion of the arc. Renji, we have not seen anything on Renji just quite yet, but we do know that he is inside of the game. So it is best for us to be patient and wait for whatever news to come into play. Now, you may be wondering, why am I not covering Ukiura? Well, the reason is that is because I'm recording this probably like 3 days after the entire ordeal happened. But the trailer got leaked, though I will not be posting that video up until the trailer comes out, so whenever that is, you'll be able to see that video. It might be a day from now, 2 days from now, or 3 days from now, who knows. But whenever that is, you'll definitely see that, and on top of that, whatever sort of character trailer that they also have for Ichigo, because I feel like because they went on ahead and introduced both characters at the same time, it would benefit if they post them on the same day, possibly, maybe, who knows. But other than that, that will be the end of this video. I know there was not really much for me to actually cover. I mean, I could have covered stuff on the map, but that sort of kind of like puts itself together. I do know that for a fighting arena, that this area right here might seem to be an actual fighting arena for the first round of Ichigo versus Ukiura, but there are plenty of maps that can be talked about, and as well as boss fights that we could, you know, come into, like Ichigo versus Grimmjow, and Rukia versus the other Espada that they fought, and same with Uryu and Chad. So, hey, like I said, there's plenty of characters and theories that we could come up with, though I'm going to save them for a later video. My name is Vamkiller. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share this if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.